Thank you, Chairman Durbin, and thank you to all of our witnesses and my colleagues. The Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health 2 years ago overturned roughly 50 years of settled precedent and was a forceful, a brazen act of conservative judicial activism, as we've heard today from a number of my colleagues and several witnesses. The predictions about Dobbs' aftermath and its potential impact on women's health have unfortunately, in many cases, all too many cases, come true. Women across our nation have lost the autonomy to make their own decisions about their body, their care, when and how to have a family. And the recent attack on fertility treatments proves that this issue may not stop at abortion. Contraception in different forms, IVF, IUDs, are on the front lines. Every woman in America deserves the freedom to make her own reproductive choices regardless of where she lives, and every American family should have the right to decide whether, when, to become a parent. Ms. Rivera, it's good to see you again. As President Biden said during his State of the Union, we've seen an assault on reproductive freedom. Fortunately, the administration's taken action to protect reproductive care through litigation challenging some of the state bans and executive orders. The administration has prioritized patient privacy protections and expanding access to contraception. What additional actions should the federal government consider to protect women in states with significant barriers to reproductive care? And what rights and protections might be at risk under a future administration that doesn't share the same commitment to protecting access to reproductive care?
Thank you, Senator. I think one of the things that can be done is passing the Omnibus Act, which is to address maternal health care, particularly for Black women who are facing maternal mortality, at disproportionate rates. The other one is making sure that states are actually expanding Medicaid so that people can get the health care they need. One of the alarming things that we're seeing right now is, the attacks on mifepristone. And I just want to say that mifepristone right now and medication abortion right now is what's keeping America from looking like pre-Roe America, where our emergency rooms were filled with women who had to resort to unsafe abortion. But right now they're able to access safe abortion. But mifepristone is being attacked right now in a current Supreme Court case. So that's one thing. And I think that investing, I think there should be a better time and resources spent investing in expanding access to services, expanding access to prenatal care, to substance use treatment for pregnant women, because there's a dearth of it right now. And this is the number one thing that I think can help us result in much better reproductive health outcomes.
Thank you. I think all of us who support healthy families and healthy children should support the legislation, the expansion of access to care that you referenced. But one of the issues that's been batted around quite a bit in today's hearing is the impact of the Alabama Supreme Court's decision in LePage versus Center for Reproductive Medicine, where they held that embryos are extrauterine children.
Yes.
The Alabama legislature says their new law protects fully access to IVF in their state. Is that true? Is the Alabama statute sufficiently comprehensive?
There are a lot of questions remaining. This legislative fix, I think at best, is temporary and narrow. So, for example, it talks about protecting patients from liability. Well, what happens when somebody's no longer a patient? So there's a big question there. And there's a big question about what happens when somebody else brings a challenge under the rationale of the state Supreme Court and under the state constitution. I really want to bring attention to the Chief Justice concurring opinion, which people should read because it's very alarming, just under religious freedom grounds. But the opinion basically says that the state legislature can do what it wants, but it has to comply with the state's constitutional language, which includes the Sanctity of Life Act. So that's a really big concern. And, you know, there's a parallel with the Life at Conception Act, which Congress is considering right now, which can make nationally look like Alabama.
Thank you. Ms. Hurd, if I might briefly, thank you for sharing how this Supreme Court decision in Alabama on fetal personhood affected you and your family. I joined my colleagues, Senators Duckworth, Murray, others, in introducing and supporting a bill to protect IVF nationwide. It was blocked on the floor. What would it mean for you personally and for families across our nation if Congress were to pass a law actually protecting access to IVF treatment across our country?
Thank you, Senator, for asking. It would mean everything. It would make me and my husband feel very much supported by this great state that we live in, great country that we live in. There are so many like myself that are experiencing infertility, and IVF is the only way that we can expand our family. So if we can get something passed that protects our access to that, it would absolutely mean a lot.
Thank you. Thank you to all our witnesses today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your indulgence.
Thank you, Senator Coons. Senator Cruz.